Any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. A beautiful quote by Mr. Arthur. A very pleasant good afternoon to everyone. It's a pleasure to meet you all virtually on this pleasant day. And I'm Danya from Artificial Intelligence and Data Science Department, first year. First of all, I would like to thank our Honorable Chairman, Mr. P. Sriram Sir, respected Principal Dr. A. Ramesh Sir, supportive faculties for this opportunity to host this prestigious event. Now, I take immense pleasure in welcoming all my friends, seniors, and faculties to this panel discussion on this special day of World Computer Literacy on the topic Upskilling Ourselves to Face the Challenges in the IT Industry. Today is observed as World Computer Literacy Day since 2001 to promote digital literacy about computers and technology and to reduce digital division in the world. On today's trending world, there is no domain without computers or programmers, and coding has now become an essential need for any professional. On that note, we have our seniors to share their experience on how to enhance our skills technically and develop ourselves. Without further ado, let's welcome our panelists, and I'm pleased to introduce them. First, we have Rahul Raj from Computer Science and Engineering final year. He's an active programmer and a competitor. He has won Smart India Hackathon and has already got offers from two companies. Hello, Anna. Now, we have Mr. Surya Sivakumar from Mechanical Department final year. He's an active coder also, and he will share his knowledge on how to enhance your programming and technical skills being in the mechanical domain. Welcome, Anna. And then in our panel, we have Ms. Kebisha Bright from Computer Science and Engineering third year. She's from a biology background. She's here to tell us how to grab your opportunities and develop self-learning skills and technology. Welcome, Akka. Next, we have Ms. Rukmini from Computer Science and Engineering third year. She's from Andhra Pradesh and she will be sharing her experience on how to enhance our skills. Hello, Akka. And our final panelist, Mr. Vasant, from Computer Science and Engineering second year. He is from a biological background with no prior coding experience before entering CIT. And he is currently doing his internship as a data scientist for a reputed company. Welcome, Anna. Once again, I thank everyone for joining. Now, let's start our discussion with Rahul Anna. So, Rahul Anna, you have entered and won many competitions. Can you tell us how we are supposed to prepare ourselves for them?
Yeah. Okay, Tanya. So, a very good afternoon to all. And so I will start with how to participate in many programming languages and how to be a part of winner in that. So the main task for being like that is programming. Programming is a challenging role, and once you enter this field, you will encounter many challenges, and you may have to solve problems in a way like no one has solved that before. Okay. So at the time, you are also expected to come up with many solutions, which is leastly possible in a time using your problem solving and logical ability. And also, I will say your mental and logical ability is the most important thing for even getting placed in a company. In a big companies like you can say like Google, Facebook, Microsoft, or anything, even Amazon, the number one. They do conduct this kind of coding, but they won't allow you to directly write the codes, okay? But they will show, at first they will give you a whiteboard and they will ask you to write the logic at first, and they will check whether your code is optimistic, and then they will allow you to code in the code editor. And then I will show you the step-by-step procedures for getting started in programming. Okay, the first one is choosing a programming language. So firstly, you need to choose a programming language that you are most comfortable with, and you should learn its syntax. It can be anything like you might have already came across in your schools, C, C++, and or anything. When I'm comparing with programming language, I feel C++ is much more faster than other programming languages. And so I'll also suggest you, if you are a newbie for coding, I will suggest you to code with Python, because it's very easy to learn and its syntax are very user friendly. And if you're having a coding logic, if I'm asking you, Vasant, like how will you add two numbers, he will say like just take the two numbers and put an addition symbol in between that. You can directly code in that the same logic in Python. So I'll suggest you to start with Python. And if you have at least intermediate hold on the any programming language, you won't face difficulty in writing the code because you already know the syntax of it. So the next thing will be understanding the concept of time and space complexity. So you might be thinking like, you know, a solution for a problem, right? But you need to be clear that your solution should be the optimal when you're comparing with others. Like, for example, if I'm asking Kabisha, how can I go to your home? She will say a path, but at the same time, I'm asking Vasan for knowing her route to the path, but he will say some other kind of path. Speaking logically, the path which is set by Kebisha will be very much optimal, but Vasan might think like his solution might be also optimal. So we should check furthermore, and you can learn this kind of time and space complexity using many online portals. Even I will suggest YouTube for learning these things. And in most of the cases, there is more than one solution that exists to a problem. So you need to come up with the best solution, that is the optimal one, and that's decided how much time and space an algorithm takes to solve the problem. And the third one is to learn the fundamentals of data structures and algorithm. So you all know like the CPU is the brain or heart of a computer, right? Similarly, DSA is the heart of programming, and you cannot ignore it like just simply skipping it. You should learn that. And there are many things in data structures and algorithm. You need to learn about array, linked list, stack, queue, tree, graph, and many algorithms like sorting, recursion, dynamic programming. All these things are the building blocks of the data structures and algorithm. You can easily learn all these kind of things in YouTube, but you will know all these things, but you may not know how to apply that in the specific problem statement. You will be applying stack in a kind of different programming, so you need to be pretty sure in that kind of field. And so the next thing is take a challenge and solving the challenging problems. Okay, so now up to now you have learned a programming language, you have learned time and space complexity, and also you have covered the fundamentals of data structures and algorithm. And what's next? You need to try it, right? So you need to take part in coding challenges on different coding platforms. And I'll suggest, like, before participating directly in a contest, it would be great if you practice for some challenges on your own and then participate there. And I can suggest many platforms like I usually used to do. I like CodeChef, and I would suggest to take some kind of practices in CodeChef, HackerRank, CodeForces, TopeCoder, and also Free CodeCamp, HackerRed, and so on. And there are a huge list of these kind of online coding platform. And starting from the basic level on these sites, once you build the confidence, and you should come out of your comfort zone, and you should gradually try to solve the complex problems. And I'll say, like, what's the easy way of finding which problem statement will be easier. So in case if you are looking for a problem statement, you can find like the problem statement which have been solved by a lot of members will be considered as the easiest one when you're comparing with others. So I'll suggest you to start with the easier one and proceed one by one, and then you can start solving the complex problems. And the final thing is you need to practice and you need to do it regularly. So the utmost thing for being a good programmer is being patient, and we should have a dedication for that. And consistency is very much important for that, for becoming a good competitive programmer. And keep practicing the coding questions every single day on the platforms I have said you. Or you can also take the help of whiteboard to solve the coding problems. And we people won't directly start coding. We used to write on the code before starting the coding. I mean, like, we used to take a paper and we write our code logic, and we will check whether this will work according to how we are thinking, and only then you need to get into the coding. So I'll suggest you this. And do not make a mistake to take a break once you start, because also some kind of relaxation is also needed for that. And participate in different coding competitions and learn from other programmers. And you can, if you are practicing daily, you can become a perfect coder, a good problem solver, and you'll be able to find a suitable data structures for applying it correctly in what problem you are facing in your reality. At the same time, the most things which were happening recently is, like, I already said you, like, it needs a lot of patience, and you should not get discouraged, or you should not give up even if you are getting wrong answer, because those are the stepping stones in my point of view. And mostly this is a point where most of the people lose interest in programming. And don't be like that, and keep trying for a day, week, months, or even if it is year. Don't worry about it, you will be learning continuously. And if you can't find a solution of your own, you can just Google it, or else you can ask your seniors or your friends or anyone. You can also find persons in LinkedIn, or and then you can clarify your doubt. I would suggest Stack Overflow, which is the best for finding a solution for your problems. And also you can read the solution only if you are completely sure that you have made a lot of effort for that. And but make sure to code again the same problem, so that you will start improving day by day. And only if you maintain your consistency and if you are not stopping, you can become a good coder. Yeah, and that's it all about how to become a programmer and how to participate in a competition after thinking. Thank you.
Thank you, Anna. Now we'll move on to Surya Anna. Being from a mechanical background, so how did you take up programming? How is it? What was your experience in programming? And now being placed in TCS, how is the transformation from being a mechanical engineer, and how it is actually helping you?
Okay, fine. Good day to all. Thank you, Danya, for the introduction. And I'm Surya here. So being a mechanical engineering and getting placed in a TCS is obviously quite doubtful thought, right? I know most of you here would be like guessing about how is that possible, being a mechanical engineering, not getting placed in the core industry and getting into IT industry. Okay. So this TCS PLM is specially meant for mechanical and mechatronics department, which is specifically named as TCS PLM. Okay, so PLM is nothing but product lifecycle management, which is most probably 35% related to mechanical and mechatronics domain. Okay, not purely IT. Okay, so pure IT is some other drive, separate drive, that is called as TCS NQD, that has been happening. So yeah. Okay, fine. So that is how I just get into this TCS industry through the PLM platform. So being a mechanical engineering student, obviously it is a tough thing to handle all the coding platforms and these things. And trust me, I learned Python since my 11th standard. Okay, I didn't have any of my C or C++ or Java. I learned Python since my 11th standard. So after coming to college also, in my first semester, I'll be having Python as a subject. So since then, I've been like practiced to Python language. Since, as Rahul said, it is a user-friendly language where we'll be having a lot of inbuilt modules in that. So like, as he said, if we are adding two numbers, we can just add a operator in between two numbers so that we can just print a number. So whether in C or C++, we need to write a couple of lines or some lines. Okay, I don't know exactly about how C or C++ works. I'm totally into Python. Okay. So that is how I just started learning Python. And if obviously someone is from biology background, since their schoolings, obviously it depends on his mindset to get involved in all the coding platforms to learn those stuffs again. And yeah, coming to the learning things. So I just started learning this Python thing in depth in this quarantine only. So this quarantine started from March, I suppose. So that was the time when we just entered into our final year. Not into final year also. We are in third year ending. So till that, I was not much into my coding platform for all the 3 years of my engineering, where I just concentrated on fully on my mechanical background. So I just started learning all my designing softwares, analyzing softwares, which has been related to mechanical only. I have not been into coding at all. So when these drive placements and drive things are much into the boardings, we are into the situation where we have to learn these. Why? Because any department, if you are taking mechanical, if you are taking EC, if you are taking EEE, any department, we just can't cope up with just that department or just that core subjects. We have to just get into all the subjects, all the departments where we call it as interdiscipline thing. So any product that you are having today, even your laptops, your computers, bikes, cars, any automotives, everything involves every department. Okay, including AI also. So nowadays, AI drive car has been manufactured in industry, right? In foreign countries and all. Obviously, India it will be soon. So that is how our normal works today. So in any industry will not be requiring only particular subject. I mean, the particular subject-wise knowledge. We have to have interdisciplinary knowledge. So that I just got to learn a lot of coding thing in my Python itself. So Python, I just learned in this quarantine in depth, where I started learning about started learning with a simple programming, and I just get into the data structures, data types, and so on things. Okay. So yeah, that's all then. Yeah.
One more question, Anna. So
Yeah.
we learn a lot of this. So for certification courses, where do you think we can actually go for? Because we are actually suggested to do certification courses. What do you suggest? Which
Okay, fine.
platforms can we use?
Yeah, I got it. So regarding the certification things, we do have a lot of learning platforms. As Rahul said, we do have a lot of coding platforms. And for learning platforms, we do have a lot of like Coursera, Udemy, Umi, and LinkedIn Learning. And these are all the few platforms which has been standardized, not like a local thing. We have a standardized course portions in those platforms. So you can just get into it, sign up, and start learning a lot of stuff, a lot of coding activities. Not only coding activities, you can learn any kind of stuff. I mean, any kind of software related activities, or any kind of IoT, artificial intelligence, deep learning, machine learning, whatever you are interested in. Not only the coding I meant, and all the domains that you can have. And to be specific about this learning platform, you can just start getting into the LinkedIn Learning and Coursera. These two are professional, and those portions, those stuff they are giving out to the students are quite professional. Okay, like not professional in the sense you can just get to learn easily, as well as the quality of that lessons and all will be like quite higher compared to the Udemy and Umi and all. QV or suppose. Am I right? GUI, yeah, sorry, GUI, sorry. Yeah, so compared to those platforms, these two platforms are quite good. And I think you're all from first year, right? You just joined first year. And I think this is the time for you to get into some professional social platforms like LinkedIn. So as Rahul said, you can just enroll yourself in LinkedIn also. So LinkedIn is quite a powerful social media platform for general students. Okay, so you can just get into those platforms. You just build a professional profile where all the people, all the industry people or your fellow mates will be looking at you, and they'll be like seeing your feeds if you are putting the feeds into it. And again, I don't know how many of you know here, I said this LinkedIn Learning, right? So this LinkedIn Learning is not for free. Okay, this is obviously with some payments. Okay, you can just have this node. Okay, initially, if you are new to LinkedIn, or if you are not enrolled into the premium account of LinkedIn, you can avail a 1 month of premium account LinkedIn for free of cost. Okay, you can just you can just get into it, learn few stuffs within that 1 month, and if you are really interested, you can just get into the premium account of LinkedIn, where that will be really useful for you. And again, if you are doing the certification in the LinkedIn, you can just update those certifications in your LinkedIn profile itself. Okay, so if you are building some connections with different industry people or different college students or any other freelancers, your profile will be viewed, your skills will be endorsed in LinkedIn. So that is quite a good thing for you in the placements point of view, as well as in your career point of view. Okay, so just start using LinkedIn than using your WhatsApp or Instagrams. That will be quite helpful for your future. Okay, why? Because we never use that LinkedIn. Okay, we just created the LinkedIn like you people, and we just left. Only in this quarantine, we just got to know about the LinkedIn's power, and we just started using it and started building contacts and doing those courses and all. Okay, so since we are late to that, I suggest you people, I think 234 people are here. I request all of you to use LinkedIn wisely. Okay, that will be quite helpful for you. Okay, so and I think Danya answered your question.
Yes, Anna, sure. Thank you, Anna. And then we'll ask Rukmini Akka. How did you do your projects and how was it helpful? We have ILPs in our college, and how was it helpful to do your projects and your academics, Akka? In your academics.
Yes. First of all, good afternoon to one and all who are here and who are listening the webinar. And happy World Computer Literacy Day. And then coming to the experience and what the projects I did. First of all, I would like to say something that I am from Andhra Pradesh, and like you people, we don't have any computer science department and biology department. I'm just equal to the biology department people who are studying in 11th and 12th standards. So I have nothing knowledge about the computers and computer science, but by my choice, I joined in the computer science department. So how did I do my projects means at the first year and the first sem, I was so afraid and I was so frightened by seeing the people who are doing 7 or 6 certifications from some of the academies or some of the online platforms and saying that they know this much, these many things and these many languages. They are saying all those things and I was so afraid and I was lack of my confidence even too. I was lack of my confidence to engage with those persons and how to start. I don't know all those things at that time. Then at the time of we have SITCOS. I think you people are familiar or might not familiar with that. We have SITCOS, which was organized in our college, where everyone can expose their talent and have did their projects and show their projects, everything. At that time, two of my seniors asked me to come to the robotic lab who are not doing the projects. Then me and my friends went there and they suggested me just learn HTML, CSS within 2 days and had a project. Even a small project is also a project. First start with that, they said that thing. So I think all of the first year students or some of my friends, all of them face the same thing, like same issue like me. So how to start, where to start, and what programming language to start. But I just started. HTML itself is not a big programming language, and it is not a programming language too, I say, in my view too. But I started with the HTML, where it gained you some confidence, and it built some interest in me to learn something about web development, to learn something new languages, to participate in the new competitions. Okay. So at that time, I started to learn HTML and then CSS as the steps they said. I did that JavaScript. And as in first year, everyone have Python. You guys are to learning the Python language now. And we had Python. At that time, I had a small project with these 3 things. These 3 things I had a small project, just a small gaming project and a small web page with colors. And then when I came to the second year, we had SQL and I learned on my own that PHP language. So with these things, I connected all the things together and put together and had some websites and web pages. I created some web pages and now I am doing the projects on website development and creating some web pages now. And
thank you.
That's it.
Now, thank you. So now, Kebisha, in this computer science domain, what do you think is the main criteria to enhance our skills?
Yeah.
Like in both terms.
Yes, Tanya. So warm greetings to all. So I'm Kebisha Bright. I'm from 3rd year computer science department. So today, computers have become the fast and easily accessible and facilitate the power to process information within just a blink of eye. So computers are utmost fruitful for human life. So talking about my experience, it's more or less similar to Rukmini's. So I also come from a biology background, so I don't know about the computer science domain. So how I was able to enhance my skill was first and more foremost thing, you grab onto every opportunity. Let it be a big one or small one. Just grab onto every opportunity. So don't leave any opportunity you face in your life. So by that only you will be able to learn and you will know your strengths and weaknesses in what your domain. Okay. So when I first joined in this college, so I also don't know anything about the coding. So first, I learned the basic codings from the online platforms. So like Siana recommended some of the coding platforms like Coursera, Google, Udemy. So there is a lot of certification, course certification. So there you can learn, or in YouTube videos also you can learn how to code. So by that you can learn the initial coding languages to crack any problems, or you can go for a hackathon for problem solvings also. So by that I was able to learn a code at code basics by this online platforms. So by that we had an CITCOS. So that is an exhibition we used to have as soon as the bridge course in the initial stages of like the first year we go to college. So that time we had, and we was able to do a project by learning in online platforms. So that was the that will give you the motivation, and that was a great experience for you to move on. So first you enhance your skills right away. Don't postpone. Like you, some may think like, okay, project, coding. Okay, let me do it after my graduation, or let me do it when I'm going to job. So don't be like that. And you, when you go to college, when you start up your college, starting day itself, you started to learn, you started to enhance your skills other than academic skills. So don't stick on only to your marks and academic scores. You also enhance your skills technically also by learning the extra learnings technically. So do self-learning. That is the most important thing. That will enhance your skill. So, and not only this, this quarantine is what is a great opportunity for doing internships. So do a lot of internships. So we have Vasant here. He is an intern from data science. So you would have seen from the intro. So this internship will enhance your experience in your domain. And also do attend many problem solving competitions. As you know, there's a lot of hackathons and TechGeek, HackRank. So do attend many problem solving hackathons. So if you do attend all those things, you'll be able to crack the real time problems when you go to job. To do and follow all this, and this in this current developing world. So now you can see that everything is dependent on technology and skills more than your academic. So you should give the equal importance to academic as well as the self-learning, and spend equal time for studying as well as this enhancing your skills. So by this, you can optimize your time accordingly to achieve a target goal. So the perseverance will help you to reach the target goal. Thank you.
Thank you, Akka. So finally, we have Vasantana, who is working as an intern and as a data scientist. So Anna, what are the projects you did in order to get your internship, and how did you get your internship, and how is it going throughout this quarantine?
Okay, so if you see, like a very good afternoon to one and all who are like watching this webinar. Hope my audio is very clear and my video is also clear. So coming to your question, like you mentioned me as a biology background student. Yeah, I was a biology background student. Coming into coding, like, was my personal interest. Though my friends and my family like instructed me to go to some ECE or EEE, some other department which is not based on computer. I like on my personal interest went to computer science. So I started my career as a web developer actually before becoming a data scientist. So as Rukmini Akka said, HTML is not a programming language. She was right actually. It's just a markup language. So to gain a confidence in like programming, I started my career by doing HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. After some rigorous training of 5 months, I done some projects in web development. Around 2 to 3 websites I have developed, in which 2 are being deployed now. After that, our lockdown came. I started to use the lockdown efficiently. So I started started this AI career by writing a research paper, actually research survey paper on the topic AI impacts on agriculture. I was doing that survey review paper. This brought an interest into me, like why can't I do something in AI or data science field? Why shouldn't I? At that time, I got this Coursera account, like getting some premium courses for free. That offer came to me. God's grace. This lockdown also was an efficient time to do this self-learning. So I started doing these certifications after doing some 2 to 3 specializations. It was around 2 to 3 months then. So after that, I used YouTube very well. Instead of like spending my time waste in some entertainment video, I started to see some projects like a beginner self-paced project in YouTube. I got some 10 to 12 around. I am now having some 15 self-paced projects which a beginner and intermediate guy can do. These were all like, if you can work out for a 3 to 4 days, it would be exciting to do actually. Like some of the things were like face mask detection. I done it during this corona period. Like if you're wearing the face mask, it will detect and say, okay, he's wearing face mask, no problem. I was also doing this social distance detecting. So everything are like so these are not a very complicated project or like we can't do. No, it's not kind of stuff like that. If you have your basics right, then you can do it. So after the doing this kind of projects, finally, as per like Surya Anna said, I was a guy who used to use LinkedIn like very usefully at all the times. So I updated my profile and my resume in my LinkedIn very like in a structured manner. So after that, I got an internship through LinkedIn itself. They approached me by seeing my resume. So finally, I'm now a data science intern doing like I'm handling an AI part of a fully developed product actually. It's been 3 months. Yeah.
Thank you, Anna.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. So Rahul, Anna, you have entered a lot of competitions, and you have an experience in how the competitions would be. So, how can we choose what competitions to enter, and how to prepare ourselves, and what is the use of actually going into competition?
Okay, Tanya. So that's a really great question. So I will say like at first before getting into a competition, you need a team. As how your friends are forming, you need a team for participating in a competition. And so I'll say my experience when I was going for TechGIC Code Gladiator at first. So it was happened when I was studying in third year, I think. So I participated with my senior Aditya. So he just called me like, can you come with me so we can participate in TechGIC Code Gladiator? And then I searched in internet how the competition is going to be, and I came to know that mostly all around the world and in India, at most I think 250,000 participants were participating in TechGIC Code Gladiator. So I just gave the name, so I got inside that, and the problem statement will be like can be anything, but it should be realistic. Like the problem should be like which we were facing in our real life situation. So we took a problem like so I'll just give you a small like a small introduction about that. So in case if you are going outside and if you are staying outside, like you need to wash your clothes and you will be actually busy on your works rather than going for washing your clothes or something. So our application is like digitalizing the things. So it will be like right, Ola, Uber, and everything. So we made a solution for that with an energy efficient and also wastewater management. Also everything were covered in this, and for a period of 1 month we were working totally, and I used to work from 9 o'clock to at night 2 o'clock. So in between I'll be having a work break for I think 3 hours maximum. So this is how it went, and initially we have a we have a choose the best answer questions, and we need to clear our basic knowledge in that, and then we will get into direct coding things, and then we need to clear that, and then you will get into creating the applications. So there will be a leaderboard where 2 lakh participants, and at the final, so when the finalists were before going to like they were announced, we came to know that we were in the top 15 participants all across India, and we were then directly invited to Mumbai, and me with my senior and also my classmate another girl. So we went there we went to Mumbai. That was a really great experience. We were in a Geo IT park, I think. So that was a really great place, and we were there, and I met a lot of great personalities there. and the competition was for 2 days without sleeping. We were not sleeping for the 2 days, might be 2 hours per day. So that is how it went. But we were not among the top 3 participants. But still, I can say, what is the use of going for those kind of competitions? Like I got a lot of contacts. Like I talked to a person who is working in Google. So he told me how to get into Google. He told me which programming language he is using, and also I got some experience from him. Also, I contacted with Geo HR. Geo company, right? All of them, we were using the same. So I talked to them. They talked about the technology. They asked for React and all. They talked like you will get an internship offer from us. I talked to Persistent company, and this is how the competitions will be useful when you are going outside. So when you're going outside, you will be getting all those kinds of exposures, and there are a lot of possibilities for you to get hired by them, and you will be getting the contacts. And then getting aware of the competitions is very much easier if you are just following the websites like TechGeek and all. I mean, mainly the Hacker Yet. You can find many competitions which were on live, and you can also see how many participants were there, and you can just enroll with your team, and then you can directly participate. And the main thing for a team is it's real. Like a single person will not be able to learn all those stuffs, right? So your team should consist of the stuffs independently, and you should work in a team. You should give a teamwork for that. Only then you can get succeed in your work. And recently about Smart India Hackathon, if I need to talk about it, like that was also a realistic competitions, and we know that it's the world's biggest hackathon. So more than I can't say how many members were there, but that's a really great thing. And Smart India Hackathon, the main thing is like we need to solve the problems for the realistic problems around us, even in our nearby house or anywhere, even in the roads and everywhere. And if you are considering for Tamil Nadu, the Ministry of Tamil Nadu, there will be a lot of hundreds of problem statements given by the government of Tamil Nadu. As well as if you are looking for government of Andhra Pradesh, there will be a lot of problems. This is how the Smart India Hackathon is done. It is a great initiative by government of India. So we took government of the Ministry of Government of Andhra Pradesh, and we took part. We competed with the total India, I mean the participants, and we got shortlisted. Actually, we took nearly 3 days for shortlisting a single problem statement, actually. And identifying problem statement is not at all, you may think that it may not be a great task, but you need to know what they are expecting from us. A single word can give a lot of meanings if they are expressing in different ways, right? So you need to get a very good clarity while reading those things. And we finalized we took 3 days for finalizing the problem statement, and we just enrolled it. We gave our idea and we submitted. And after a period of 1 week, we came to know that we got shortlisted in that. I had a lot of contacts of my juniors. I was actually working with juniors, many of them, and we were participating in that. And then we were in the next level. So we need to create a prototype. So we started planning how the web application is going to be. And the problem is actually again the same real-time problem. You might be knowing how the teaching practices is going in our real life, right? How the interaction is going between the teacher and the student in a class. And I'm asking, did you thought like if a student is having a bad time before teacher, but if he is having a good mindset, and if he is having any doubts, but he won't be able to contact directly with the teacher, some kinds of disputes may happen. And also the next thing is some schools or colleges may not have the proper infrastructure, which is totally necessary, but there might cause a time delay for contacting the higher authorities for making those arrangements. And in some other way, the parents will not be able to directly contact with the institution for clearing their grievances. And in some other way, students will also have their grievances, right? But they may not be able to express directly to the teachers. They need some kind of anonymity there. So we created a platform in which anonymity is also there. Students can directly contact the teachers, parents, and everyone, even to the management. But a proper reason should be there. And in many movies, we have seen like there will be a communication between the institution and the inspector who is going to visit the institution, right? So there might be any kind of money exchange or some kind of things. We were totally avoiding all those things using our platforms. This is the thing which we done for Smart India Hackathon, and that is why we were awarded the first place for doing it, and we even hosted it online, and that is how the competitions is. So if you need to get into competition, you need to get a perfect team who are capable of doing. You need to split the work properly. You need to split the time period, and then you need to start working in. And next thing is you need to clear about what you are going to do. So that is the main thing. And the third thing is you need to present in a way that you should be able to know what I'm coming to say. So I think these are the main things for getting into your competitions and presenting it. Yeah, yes, thank you.
Thank you, Anna, for sharing a wonderful experience. So participants here, if you have any doubts, you can post it in the chat box. Yeah. So Anna, Surya, you have been already placed in TCS as a PLM. So can you share us the experience of your first interview, and what are the main criteria to develop ourselves to face an interview?
Okay, fine. Okay, Vishal. Yeah. So firstly, when we are into the placement segments, we have been trained with the basic aptitude. Okay, so the aptitude which we are learning, aptitude is nothing but our mathematical ability on our own lessons. We have learned, right? Everyone would have learned about this cost price, selling price, profit loss, number system, probability, charts, and so on. Those are all comes under the aptitude category. Okay, that is called as actually quantitative aptitude. Okay, and this is one sort of aptitude. And another thing is the logical aptitude, where our logical thinking will be tested there, like blood relation and those kind of logical. Like we'll be sitting in a circle where one person will be sitting next to a 3%, one person will be sitting next to 2%, and those kind of related questions, which obviously school students will be facing in your FIGI exams, ASSET exams, or Olympiad exams. Those kind of exams, the questions will be like that only. So those are all the normal aptitude kind of question where we are being taught. We'll be actually practicing those, and those are the first main thing any corporate would be looking into us. Okay, so they believe that that's the basic knowledge for solving any sort of problems in this society. Okay, so that's the main criteria firstly. And if you are getting cleared into that round, so quantitative aptitude round, and we'll be also into the coding round. Okay, so like since this is a IT industry, this is the IT industry, though I am competing for PLM, product lifecycle management, which has been related to mechanical, I'll be also being tested my coding knowledge. Okay, so that is the basic criteria. Similar to the aptitude, the coding is the basic criteria, where as I said, I learned Python and I just made my coding there in Python as well. Okay, and if we are clearing in this, we'll be into the HR round, where we'll be having a face-to-face interview, where it was happened to me in Google Meet. Google Meet, not Google Meet actually, Microsoft Meets. Okay, so since this pandemic exists, we do have the online recruitments. So I had a HR in Meets where he was asking a lot of questions, but firstly they'll be starting up with our self-intro. Okay, self-intro is the first key thing where you can actually attract your HR. Okay, so if you are good enough in your self-intro, and if you are good enough in your own technical side, you'll be obviously cracking the HR round. And of course, they'll be asking few stress questions. Okay, stress questions in the sense yeah, the exact question which Danya asked me. So since you are from mechanical background, why IT? So if you are into IT, will you be going to mechanical job if you are offered afterwards? So these are all few stress questions where they'll be checking your own stress level, where if you can cope up those stresses and if you can manage to answer those questions, obviously they'll be recruiting. So that is how. And apart from that, if I'm giving a self-introduction, I'll be also telling my area of interest, my own projects which I've been did in my whole engineering career, and I'll be also telling about my paper publications as well as the patent filings. So if I'm telling all those, like they'll be tend to ask the same question which I am giving the points. Like if I'm telling this publication has been done, obviously they'll be asking the question regarding to that publication itself. If I did a project, they'll be asking regarding the project itself. So that by that way you can just easily crack the HR rounds. And obviously English knowledge is mandatory for everyone. If you are good enough to speak English in a modernized way as well as in a formal way, you'll be into the company soon. So yeah, that's all about the interview process. Bisha, anything else?
Some few tips. How did you manage your academic as well as learning the technical skills?
Okay, fine. So since my first year, I've been into a lot of activities in college, which includes learning, self-learning as well as. Yeah. So self-learning is something that our college make it mandatory for the person who are above average in their academics. Okay. So if I'm above the average, they'll be allowing us for self-learning during my academic time itself. Okay, so I'll be going to my ILP, Innovative Learning Programming Center, where I'll be sitting there learning my own stuff there. So since my first year, since I'm from a mechanical background, I'll be going to ILP and sitting there, where I'll be learning designing softwares like CATIA, SolidWorks and all. And in the second year and all, I started developing my skills on additive manufacturing. So from like, I've always been a above average student, where staffs and faculties or HODs will be allowing me for the self-learning program, where I can go and sit and learn in various COEs that has been available in our college. Hope you all know the COEs which has been in our college. And yeah, that is how. So yeah, of course, you have to maintain your academics above average itself. Otherwise, you will not be allowed into self-learning. And if you are not into above average also, you can learn, but after the college has. Okay, our college probably ends at 2:45, I suppose. Yeah, 2:45 it ends. And if you are willing to learn your own domain stuff, you can just stay till back 5 o'clock, or after that also, you can just stay and learn things. So our laboratory is open 24 hours. So that is how I've been into self-learning as well as academics, Kibisha. Anything else?
That's it, Anna. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Experience sharing. So, Rukmini now. Rukmini, as Arnav said about the self-learning in this domain, so Rukmini, can you tell how important is self-learning and how you were able to utilize the self-learning and enhance your skills? Can you share us with us?
Yes, Kibisha. I say that self-learning is one of the most important attribute that everyone should possess, and everyone could inculcate in themselves and should grow that thing. Self-learning, that no one gonna spoon feed you till the last breath of your life, whatever the challenges you may face, right? So you need to learn on your own. Academics can be managed anyway. Academics can be managed in any way that you can learn from the books, or you can have the resources, or you can have the online resources, and they can be managed, and you can maintain your good GPA, good CGPA. And but CIT is the best platform for me, that it enabled me for going into the self-learning. So for me, I realized it lately that self-learning is the important thing, and I should develop on my own, and I should have myself learn.
Yes,
But
yes,
it should not be like something that someone, and it should not be like something that you start your self-learning until someone pushes you, or until some external force acts on you. So for me, self-learning is through online platforms, and through with the help of the CIT faculty, they send me in my second year to the self-learning sessions, so that I can maintain my academic and both the domain what I was interested in, so that I learn on my own. So everyone can have the self-learning. Okay,
yes,
thank you.
So can you tell who is the role model, and who motivated you in doing all the self-learning in this UG?
Yes, motivating me, absolutely, the CIT college and its faculty members and all the professors and teachers, they motivated me for the self-learning. to be honest, I was a lazy person that I don't know where to start. This is the point where I was stopped to learn on my own self, that I stopped at the point that I know nothing, then I don't know how to proceed further. This is the point where I stopped, and I don't know. Even someone says that you can go and you can interact. I was afraid of everything. But when I get into it and I realized, and I get into the ILP and I get into the self-learning process, and I learned on my own, I came to realize that it was just a easy thing and it will go very smoothly. And any one of your seniors or any of the faculty members will help you in any doubt, even it may be a small or big doubt. Everyone can clarify you if they are know about that. So self-learning is something not what you want to be in your career, but it's what you will be happy when you are there in your career. Okay.
Yes. Thank you, Rukmini, for sharing a wonderful experience. So now let's move on to Vasant. So Vasant, you have completed a lot of certification courses. So can you tell us what motivated you in completing many certification courses?
Okay, so coming to your question, Akka. So if you see, like, I can showcase my skill in many ways. So there are some ways like doing some projects or teaching someone, that also shows my skill anyway. So, but to share in my LinkedIn profile or in some other platforms like Instagram or Facebook or whatever, what are the social media we have, I needed to showcase my skills so that I can acquire any opportunities if possible. So at that time, I thought of doing some certifications, in which at the first I got, as I said, Coursera. So that motivated me a lot. They like at the time there was some constraint, like the lockdown might end at any time. So if possible, try to do your certifications as soon as possible. So if you see, the contents were, as Surya said, the contents were very structured, in a very structured manner. And one of my inspirations, Andrew Ng, was taking the course. I was like very interested in doing that course. And after that, I done around 10 to 12 certifications in Coursera and just uploaded it in my LinkedIn profile, building my LinkedIn profile into a very good one. So after seeing that, I have viewed my link. I'm a guy who used to follow my LinkedIn profile in a daily basis. So if you see, like before this lockdown, I had around 100 connections max to max, which is also based on my college, my college friends and my college faculties. Now it has been raised to 708 and around 700 to 800 connections. Which are like people who are being like experienced in data science field. So I'm happy that I'm able to connect with a lot of guys by doing these certifications and using LinkedIn and other social media in a very better manner.
Yes.
Okay, just a minute. To add on to Vasant, you can just learn a lot of stuffs in a lot of platforms, but then you just don't stop by uploading those certificates in LinkedIn alone. Okay, you just if you're learning a gaming by coding, through coding, if you're just learning some gaming, you just code that gaming and you just upload that video, record that video, and you just upload that video so that everyone can view your skills than your certifications. Yeah, your skill talks more than your certifications, right? So you just record those, you just upload that and build in a lot of connections with your own domain. So obviously if he is from analytics, data analytics, right, data scientist, you can search data scientists in LinkedIn, where you can just get into their contacts, so that you'll be like getting a lot of opportunities regarding your own domain. Okay, so yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Anna. Thank you for your suggestion. Yes, so we have seen everybody's experience and their learnings. Now we have Danya from first year who will just join our college. So Danya, so this is your first opportunity that you have able to host this event. So can you share us how useful was this panel discussion for you, and what were your learnings from this?
It was really useful and motivational, especially because generally for first years, the first question that always is there is what Rukmini Akka said: what to learn, where to learn, how will the world be? And from all of you experts, I was able to learn everything that I had in my mind. And I'm very sure all my friends out there who's seeing this webinar will also be helped with this. And I thank all of you for spending this time and your knowledge with us. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Danya. I hope you would have got many ideas about all the experiences. Yes. So as now we have seen about everybody's experience and learning about the technical and upskilling our skills. Now we can see the development of technology is booming in every field. Let it be in computer science or information technology, or among electrical engineers or electronic engineers, or among mechanical or mechatronics. Let it be in hardware or software. Its advancement is kept developing in every field. So we need to just keep us updated and enhance our skills. So if you're first year, you need to have a connection with your seniors and mentors, and you stick on to them for upskilling your skills, for developing your skills. So we are developed and we enhance our skills only through our seniors, advisors. Just now, Surya now have suggested Vasant for doing a certification for in different way. So like this, you will get many suggestions, and you seniors and faculties will guide you in a right path. So make use of every opportunity and every path you have been given. So I hope this was a very useful session. So we have come to end of our discussion. And I want to give one more information, like if you have any doubt, or if you want to learn any skill or doing any certification courses in Coursera, Udemy, or in Google, you have any doubts in self-learning, so you can contact Sendil sir. So I'll give his contact number so you all can note it. So his contact number is 9710271525. So I'll repeat, 9710271525. So this Sendil sir's number, you can contact him if you have any doubt, any clarification about self-learning and upskilling your skills. If you're so afraid, like how can I learn? Everybody is so learning about this and that. I don't know, I have any idea. So you can get help from us, mentors, faculties. So we are all every time we are here to help you. So thank you. We have come to end of this discussion. So I'm really grateful for Honorable Chairman, Principal, HODs, and faculties for providing this extraordinary opportunity to conduct this panel discussion. And my special thanks to all my participants who have been connected with us. Thank you all for joining.
Thank you, Kebisha. Thank you, Danya.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you all.